Everyone, I'm Asia Dang. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Today, I have some mother effing news. Now that I'm talking to you guys in front of this camera, I'm actually kind of nervous because apparently there are a lot of financial geniuses on YouTube who tend to criticize my every move. And that's fine. I mean, it takes a certain kind of asshole to be an asshole to someone who is openly sharing their debt. But we'll just ignore them for a second because I do have some big news, and it is all thanks to your suggestions. But first, I do want to say, yes, this is my monthly budget. However, I'm going to dedicate basically all of this video to my big news. So if you want to check out my July budget, of course, as always, it is in the description box of this video, so check it out. My big news, people, is that I finally consolidated my mother effing Nelnet loan. Fuck you, Nelnet. Seriously. Now, admittedly, a lot of you all out there in my comment section are always like, you should consolidate, you should refinance, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm always like, yeah, okay, thanks for the advice, but I'm too lazy. I finally did it. So this is the video about why I decided to do it, who helped me consolidate, why Nelnet is a bunch of piece of shit crooks, and the plan from now on. I just consolidated strictly my Nelnet loans that are worth about $154,000. So you guys know I've been sharing my story about my debt-free journey since December of last year. And a lot of people are really shocked that someone on YouTube is talking about, debt and financial struggles. And since that is the case, there have actually been a lot of news outlets that have picked up on this story. 2 of them went viral, which is incredible. And since those viral videos and articles, I have had a lot of financial advisors reach out to me regarding my loans, telling me that they'd help me and all this kind of stuff. For me personally, it kind of sketched me out just because, obviously I'm not that good with money. I'm trying to learn, but this is how I got into my financial situation in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't want someone to take advantage of me, knowing full well that I am not the best when it comes to money. So I kind of just ignored a lot of them and deleted them. However, then I got an email from this guy named Kelroy, and he immediately stuck out to me because he, like myself, we're both from Hawaii. And I'm just telling you this whole story just so you guys know my process and all that kind of stuff. I just want to give you all the details. So we get on the phone and start talking and come to realize we actually have some mutual friends, which is also a plus. So I'm like, okay, cool. I trust you. What do you recommend I do? And he recommended I go talk to this guy named Joshua. Joshua actually helped Kelroy's parents get out of debt, which is a plus. Plus, Joshua's sister-in-law is actually a fellow subscriber. So hi, Pam Pam. So that was an extra plus. So I'm thinking, wow, this is all just way too perfect. I gotta trust these guys. All the signs are pointing to yes, so let's move forward. He gave me a free consultation, and what he told me totally blew my goddamn mind. And I'm sorry there's a lot of swear words in this video, but I swear when I get angry. When I finally got the balls to look at my student loan numbers, which have been ignored for years and years and years because I was too scared to look at them, I just looked at the number that was the large, big, bold, red, underlined total amount. I didn't really go into detail about what each individual loan entailed, what type of loans they were. I didn't go into that. I just saw the big number and I was like, okay, shit, I need to conquer that. However, if I had looked at each individual loan earlier, I could have saved myself so much goddamn money. If you're gonna comment saying, Asia, you're so fucking dumb, you should have known what you were getting yourself into, how do you not know that? Yeah, you think? That is exactly what this whole series is about. It's me telling you my mistakes so you can look into whatever kind of debt you have, although I'm struggling with student loan debt. It could be any other debt. So you can look into what you're dealing with now and not make the same mistakes I did. So yeah, I should have looked more in depth into my student loans, but I didn't because I was scared. So this is your wake-up call. If you are scared, too scared to look at your debt, do it now. Now that I said that, let's break down the numbers. I took out 9 different loans totaling $107,000. However, over the course of these loans, it has grown to over $154,000. All due to interest, by the way. So that's about $45,000 in interest, and as we're speaking right now, that number is just growing. So the reason why it ballooned so big is because the first couple years out of grad school, or just out of school in general, I wasn't making money. Because of that, I had to put my loans into financial hardship forbearance, which totally screwed me. And you're not really thinking when you put your loans in forbearance, you're not thinking about the long-term effects of that. The only thing you're thinking at the moment is, I cannot afford this. I need help. I need you to help me. And guess what? They did, kind of. They helped me in a way that would actually help them more. So, my bad. So for instance, my Direct Plus graduate loan, it originally started at $28,000, which means that is the original amount that I took out, $28,000. That has since compounded to $33,000. And then on top of that, they added additional interest due to my forbearance. So what essentially did was that they added interest on top of interest on top of interest on top of interest, crossed their fingers, hoped that I wouldn't notice and could ride the gravy money train all the way to the bank. And guess what? I didn't notice, and guess what? They rode that goddamn train. So knowing that, if I hadn't gone down the route of contacting Joshua, who recommended consolidation and consolidating outside of Nelnet, I would have had to pay about $300,000 in the total life of my loan. So what originally I pulled out as $107,000 would have ballooned to over $300,000, actually more like $350,000 over the life of the loan, had I just let Nelnet control everything. You guys saw my struggle when I was dumping thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into my student loan, and most of that went to interest. Now we know why. It's that story for the rest of my other 8 loans and so on and so forth. So after Joshua told me that, I was like, God damn it, I need to get the hell out of Nelnet, and that's what we did. So there is a difference between consolidation and refinancing. You can do all of that with any type of loan. Consolidation is taking all your different types of loans and putting it into one big loan. So again, I had 9 different types of loans before consolidating. Now I only have 1. That's 2. Here's 1. And I actually tried to refinance all my loans through SoFi because a lot of you recommended that I test out SoFi, and I didn't qualify, so that didn't really work out for me. What you could do is you could do both. I think Joshua said that you would you would consolidate first and then you would refinance. So there's some options. Again, I'm not like a professional, so don't go to a bank and say like, Asia said I could do this. I know nothing, okay? Now I'm in the big consolidation bubble. So what that means is all 9 accounts with Nelnet are paid in full. So I don't have to deal with Nelnet anymore. I don't have to deal with their bullshit. And I know Nelnet is actually one of the bigger student loan companies. A lot of you guys on Instagram responded to my Instagram story saying, I have Nelnet, I consolidated or I refinanced with Nelnet, all this stuff with Nelnet. So take this with a grain of salt, knowing my full story, but fuck Nelnet, and I'm so glad to be out of their like greedy little money hands. That being said, who paid them off for me? And it's the US government. So now, while I'm not a slave to Nelnet and their stupid payments and their stupid interest rate and their stupid like just being stupidness, I am now a slave to the Department of Education. But they're less of a slave master, I have to say. So I still have to pay my loan back. This is not a forgiveness in any way. So the Department of Education, specifically through a company named Mohila, paid off my Nelnet loans. So no more Nelnet. But now I have to pay my loans with the Department of Education. So I'm not like debt-free in any way. I just found kind of like a nicer boss, if you will. So a part of my deal to Consolidate is that what they would do is they would take the weighted average of my interest rate, and then that would be my interest rate for the life of the loan, and I wouldn't have to pay more. So now, because my rates were kind of silly, my interest rate now is 7.3%. And while that's still high, that is a number that we can work around, and I'll tell you more about that later. So yeah, there's that. I don't have to pay any more than 7.3% in interest, and some of my loans were like 8% and stuff. So I think that's pretty okay. Now, in order to keep my interest rate at 7.3, I have to pay a minimum balance of $423 per month. That is something I can do. I can definitely do that. Now, I'm gonna do that as automated payments, which I've actually never done in my entire life. Here's the cool part. For 3 years, the government will pay the full balance of unpaid interest, which is the part that was totally screwing me up. And if it takes more than 3 years to pay off my loan, then they're gonna pay half of the amount of interest. Every 18 monthly payments that I make on time, in full, no default, they're gonna knock down my interest rate by an additional 1% as incentive. So in 18 months, if I pay everything on time and in the right amount, which I will because my loan is now an automated payment, then my interest rate will be knocked down from 7.3 to 6.3, and that'll just continue on and on. So that's cool. So I asked Joshua to do the calculations with all of this new information, what my monthly payments would be if I wanted to pay this off in 2 years. And I know that is super aggressive, and but for me, I'm really goal-oriented, and I just wanted a number to shoot for monthly. So here are the numbers. While my minimum payment would be $423 a month, if I wanted to pay this off in 2 years, which would be incredible, because I was thinking more 4 or 5, I'd have to throw about $6,500 a month to my loans. Is it a lot? Yes. Can I do it? Sometimes. And earlier this year, I would have absolutely said yes, because I was honestly bringing in the money, but the past couple months have been slowing down. So some months yes, some months no. As long as I'm in between $423 and $6,500, I'll be happy. The reason why I put my payments into automatic withdrawal is because that helps with your credit and all that stuff. And I know as a follower of Dave Ramsey, you're not really supposed to care about your credit. But if you're paying off your loans or if you're paying off debt, you might as well do it in a way that'll like increase your credit while you're in the process, right? So Joshua told me a lot of really great tips and tricks about kind of beating the system in terms of that. So if you want to know kind of like my payment method and why I'm doing it, I think I'll talk about it more in next month's budget video, just because this is already a long video and we're talking about consolidation and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. All in all, if everything goes as planned, which my life never really goes as planned, but if all my good juju and karma line up really well over the next 2 years, I'll spend about $167,000 to pay off my current student loan. And yeah, it is still a lot of money. Like that is a down payment. I mean, just a down payment of a house in Los Angeles. And I still want to take a really dull spoon and poke out my eyes. However, if I were to stay with Nelnet, the same course that I've been going at for the next couple years until I pay off my loan, if I were to stay at Nelnet on their terms, I would have had to pay $343,000 to pay off my original $107,000 loan. That number right there was incentive for me enough to consolidate and get the fuck out of Nelnet. So I'm saving myself about $200,000 in anger and tears and pain. Now again, just to clarify, this is like specific to my loan. So I have a certain type of loan for a certain amount of loan, and it all worked out for me best to consolidate this way. However, you guys all know my journey. If you've been following me over the past couple months, you know it's been a struggle. You know I didn't know what to do until I finally spoke to someone. So while I'm not telling you to take this specific course of action, I am suggesting that maybe you want to talk to Joshua or someone like Joshua just to see what your options are. I got a free consultation with Joshua, and he offers free consultations to everyone. So if anything, just go hit him up. You don't have to be in LA. You don't have to have student loan. It can be any type of debt. Hit him up, get that free consultation, and see what he can do for you. I got a free consultation for both my loans, both the Nelnet and the AES Success. While I went with whatever was recommended for the Nelnet account, my AES Success account, I wasn't really into the plan that they suggested for me. Since I am gonna pay off my student loans in 3 months, they thought that it was probably better for me to just do that versus go in another route. So I said, thanks for your advice, but you know, thanks for being honest with me. I'm gonna just continue to go my path. So don't feel pressured at all. It's just a consultation. Also, I do want to mention that since it is a service, there is a fee. That fee depends on the type of debt that you have. Student loan debt would definitely be a lot less. I believe my fee was quoted at like $600 or something. But for me, it kind of equated Joshua and the student loan counselor as kind of like a tax guy. I pay my tax guy, Doug, to help me navigate the trickiness that is, you know, freelance taxes. I couldn't do it on my own. He knows the tips and tricks and laws in order to help me, so I pay him. Same with Joshua. I don't know anything about student loan debt. And he knows the tips and tricks and laws in order to help me too. So that's kind of how I see it. I mean, he is saving me $200,000 in the long run, so $600 is nothing compared to that. Have my money. Remember, it doesn't have to be student loan debt. It can be credit card debt. It can be like debt settlement or whatever it is. I'm gonna have a link for you guys to put all your information if you want to go ahead and talk to Joshua. I'm not going to see any information. I want it to be as secure and streamlined as possible, so it's not like in a Google Docs. This is like a legitimate website for you guys. So if you wanted to get a free consultation from Joshua or anyone in his group, please go to the description box and fill out that form, and he'll contact you as soon as possible. He was really quick. And the thing about Joshua is, when he was talking to me, if you guys have seen like Silicon Valley, he reminds me of Jared, a very gentle soul that you just kind of trust and you want to like root on. But anyways, that's like aside from the point. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope it makes sense. I hope what I said makes sense. And yeah, I wish I had done this immediately out of college. Like, could you imagine? I feel like I would have been done paying off my loans. Even when I wasn't making money, I feel like I would have been done paying off my loans by then, or by now. And again, take my experience and take my losses and apply it to your life and do better than me. If you want a free consultation, hit up Joshua, links in the description box. Kelroy, if you're watching, I don't know if you are, but I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I think I'm gonna start crying, but I'm not going to. Thank you for reaching out to me. I definitely feel like I've got a grasp of my student loans and I never felt that way before. So thank you. That's it. I'm Asia Dang. This is my video. I don't know how else to end it, but I'm just gonna say, fuck you, Nelnet. Bye.